today's show, Bitcoin spikes to 42,300 high as Ethereum nearly reclaims $3,000. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. And as shared here by Matthew Hyland, looks like Bitcoin has been using previous resistance at 40,300 as new support the past few days. Let's see if it continues to rally. And as Crypto Ed shares here, patience is a virtue, but finally breaking out of that bull flag. And regarding Ethereum, he says ETH is stronger than BTC and already at the resistance he pointed out. Break it and $3,200 is on the table. And as Pentoshi shares here, Bitcoin macro headwinds are still too strong, but midterm, I think we rally because seller exhaustion before any shot at new lows or previous lows. So lean towards up, then down, in my opinion, late Q2, and quoting Dennis Porter, the USA will adopt Bitcoin. The momentum is too strong, the incentive too great, the historical moment too profound, the timing too perfect. Also in today's show, Bitcoin beats owning coin stock by 20% since the Coinbase IPO. That's right, and as Da Vinci shares here, with 7.5% inflation and real inflation numbers at 19.5%, the Fed is doing a great job, just 100x more, and they'll be at Paul Volcker's level of 30% interest rates. Got Bitcoin? Also in today's show, Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says Russia-Ukraine war is making crypto a better safe haven than fiat currencies. Quoting him here, Bitcoin and war. Investors Business Daily reports many Russians using Bitcoin as lifeline after the ruble collapse. 13% of Ukrainians, 12% of Russians, and 8% of Americans own crypto. Ukraine-Russian war giving rise to crypto as a safer haven than government. Fake fiat money. Preach. And this just in, breaking news, Honduran President Xiomara Castro to announce Bitcoin as legal tender. Quoting her here, we must not allow El Salvador to be the only country escaping dollar hegemony. And she also said Honduras has the right to move toward the first world. And check it, Max Kaiser actually predicted this the other day and said it's happening and shared a flag. And Max also says Bitcoiners were 10 years ahead of the curve. The fact that the White House is still dumb on this point means another 10 years of triple-digit compounding, $220,000 still in play. Also in today's show, we'll be taking a look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ether, and all the major altcoins are currently pumping and in the green. But where's the Bitcoin price likely to go next? Find out all this, plus so much more, in today's show. Here are Crypto News Alerts. I drop a brand new episode every single day. The goal is to get to 100,000 subs along with a $100,000 Bitcoin price. If you like getting that crypto, be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Today's episode is brought to you by FTX US, built by traders for traders. That's right, FTX US is the best way to buy and sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, as well as other digital assets. And did you know you can trade crypto with up to 85% lower fees than its top competitors? That's right, there are no fixed minimum fees, no ACH transaction fees, and no withdrawal fees. Also note that FTX is the only leading exchange that supports both Ethereum and Solana NFTs, and there are no gas fees. And you might have heard of them from their Super Bowl commercial with Larry David or their partnership with Stephen Curry and Tom Brady. That's because the world's biggest names trust FTX. And they have a special promo they're running right now where if you download the FTX app today and use my promo code Crypto News, you can earn free crypto on every trade over $10, truly making this a no-brainer. And the more you trade, the more you earn. So go ahead and download the FTX app today by clicking the link in the description right down below. Use my referral code Crypto News and let's start stacking those sats, shall we? All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. How's it going, crypto fam? Holla at your boy in the live chat. Now, Bitcoin saw brisk upwards action during the Wall Street trading session yesterday, confirming the predictions that higher levels would see a retest. And in fact, we touched as high as 40,200 before cracking back down to where we're currently at, but still sitting pretty at just above $41,700 at the time of this recording, and bets are placed on 46,000 as the next major resistance level we need to crack. Now, the move buoyed traders who began to reinforce their short-term views of levels near the top of Bitcoin's 2022 trading range being challenged. For popular trader Pentoshi, such a result would not mean that Bitcoin had broken its downtrend definitively, as he recently shared on crypto Twitter, and more confident now in the rally towards yearly open. Short term is discussed, so we'll hold that bias and reassess as we get closer and see how price reacts. And then in his latest update, he goes on to share, update Day 2 of 2, macro headwinds still too strong, but midterm, I think we rally because of seller exhaustion before any shot at new lows or previous lows, so lean towards up and then down, in my opinion, late. Quarter 2, let me know if you agree or disagree with the crypto analyst. Now, cold feet over the macro conditions became a major issue this week, with multiple predictions of a major drawdown across major assets, including Bitcoin, coming this year. And analyst Matthew Hyland, meanwhile, noticed that in any case, previous resistance around 40,000 was now increasingly looking to flip to support, as he shares here on Twitter. Looks like Bitcoin has been using previous resistance at 40,300 as new support the past few days. Let's see if continues to rally. And a few hours later, he updated us here. Not too bad for Bitcoin so far. And earlier, Crypto Ed delivered a near-term forecast of 43,000 for Bitcoin before a potential fresh consolidation period, only then followed by an exit up or down. And in a subsequent update, he showed the pair breaking out of the bull flag formation in place over the recent days. As he shares here, Bitcoin patience is a virtue, but finally breaking out of that bull flag. Ether, however, was more of an interesting focus on the day, as he shares here. Ether stronger than Bitcoin and already at the resistance I pointed out this morning. Break it, and $3,200 is on the table. And back to Bitcoin, he says still expecting 43,000 when breaking out of the bull flag. It's just taking a bit more time, in my opinion, and more interesting is ETH strength. In case Bitcoin goes for 43K, I expect 3,200 for ETH. Wrong when it breaks lower. Now let's discuss a potential altcoin season, as pointed out here by Bitcoin Fuel. When altcoin season thread, in this thread, I'm looking at crypto market structures to assess when an altcoin market peak should happen and the consequence alt season, which happens in the weeks before the peak. And he goes on to share to assess when next alt season peak will happen. I'll be looking at charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the dominance of altcoins of the different past alt seasons. By aligning them correctly structure-wise, I found this provisional target zone when the peak should happen. And in this chart, it shows you the top zone between June to August with a 20% chance between September and December. And he says before getting started, where are altcoins in their market curve? When compared to Bitcoin, one can see they're entering the final leg up of the hype phase. This is the altcoin bubble. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is in the liftoff phase. Bitcoin and altcoins are thus in a different stage of the market curve. In this chart, you can see altcoins structurally align with the hype phases of Bitcoin in 2010, 2014, and the NASDAQ.com bubble. Bitcoin is aligned with the gold liftoff in 1999 to 2011. And I'm going to read one more for you because this is a very big Twitter thread, but it says, within a single bull market cycle, Bitcoin is not as far progressed as altcoins. Bitcoin is in its neutral stage. Altcoins are in the next stage, the rising wedge before the top. And I'll include this in the show notes below the video in the description. It is very detailed and very interesting, to say the least. Do you feel that an alt season may be amongst us? Let me know in the comments right down below. And quoting Dennis Porter here, the USA will adopt Bitcoin. The momentum is too strong. The incentive too great. The historical moment too profound. The timing too perfect. Preach. And before I break down next story of the day, Bitcoin beats owning coin stock by 20% since the Coinbase IPO. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, a sea of green, which I love to see. Bitcoin up 3% for the day, maintaining just above $41,700. We have Ethereum up almost 5% for the day, flirting with that critical 3K resistance. We have Solana up 5.5%, trading just under $90. Luna up over 5%, trading above $88. We have Avalanche up a whopping 10%, trading above $86.39. And as you can see, the gains continue as the momentum continues in the crypto market. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Buying a Coinbase stock, which is coin, to gain indirect exposure in the Bitcoin market has been a strategy thus far compared to simply hodling BTC. Keep it simple. Be a hodler. Now, notably, coin is down by nearly 50% to almost $186 if measured from the opening rate on its IPO on April 14th of last year. And in comparison, Bitcoin outperformed the Coinbase stock by logging fewer losses in the same period, a little over 30%, as it dropped from nearly 65K to around $41,700. The correlation between Coinbase and Bitcoin has been largely positive to date, however, suggesting that many investors consider them as assets with similar value propositions. That is primarily due to the buzz around how coin could become a simpler onboarding experience for investors into the crypto sector, comparing to buying Bitcoin, Ether, and other digital assets. But the coin product is facing increasing competition with the arrival of an ETF. Mining stocks and similar crypto-enabled firms listed adjusted across Wall Street indexes, this may have reduced its demand as the go-to asset for gaining crypto exposure. Additionally, coin faces downside risk due to its depressive forecast for 2022. Coinbase stated in its latest earnings report that crypto volatility could turn 2022 into an unprofitable year, noting their adjusted losses could come to be around $500 million if monthly transaction users come at the lower end of the guidance range. Crazy, eh? Now, Jer Ong, the principal analyst and founder of JR Research, noted that 96% of Coinbase's total revenue in Q4 of last year came from the fees changed on retail transactions, which highlights its business model's inherent weakness. Excerpts from the report: "We believe it offers a short-term buying opportunity for speculative investors, but we do not encourage investors to hold coin stock for the long term unless you have a very high conviction of its execution." Now, Bitcoin is a different beast altogether when compared to the shares of a centralized company like Coinbase. Absolute scarcity, censorship resilient, decentralized ledger, and gold-like properties as a potential hedge against inflation and the digital age are just some of the concepts driving up the Bitcoin price today. And quoting Da Vinci here, with 7.5% inflation and real inflation numbers at 19.5%, the Fed is doing a great job. Just 100% more, and they'll be at Paul Volcker's level of 30% interest rates. Got Bitcoin, and he's quoting this article from CNN. The Federal Reserve begins raising rates. After nearly 20 years of relatively low interest rates, the Fed has resumed rate increases to combat rising inflation. Well, guess what? At least they admit that inflation exists. Remember, not that long ago, they would never admit it. And then eventually they said, yeah, it's transitory. Now they finally admit to it. But of course, they're projecting much lower numbers than reality. It is what it is. And as a result, analysts and strategists predict the king crypto to reach anywhere from $0 to millions of dollars per one BTC, including the BitMEX co-founder Arthur Hayes, which I covered in yesterday's episode, who's predicting Bitcoin price in the millions. Let's freaking go. And elsewhere, most of the crypto exposure stocks have also suffered, most compared to Bitcoin, namely NASDAQ-listed mining firms Canaan, whose stock fell by nearly 80% year over year, and Riot Blockchain, which dropped 67.5% in the same period. And before I break down next story of the day, Rich Dad Poor Dad author says Russia-Ukraine war is making crypto a better safe haven than fiat currencies. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting just under 1.9 trillion, with about 92 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance at 42.1% and the Ether dominance at 18.8%. And checking out the top cryptocurrency gainers for the day within the top 100, we have Thorchain up 16%, trading at $8.73, SXP up 11.5%, trading at $1.51, and Zcash up 11%, which is a privacy coin, trading at $167.57. And now checking out the top 100 cryptocurrency gainers for the week, you can see a sea of green, almost all of them pumping. You gotta love it. Rune up 42%. We got Mina up 30.9%. We have Aave up almost 35%. And the massive gains continue. Even Avalanche up a whopping 21%. And now checking out one of my favorite indicators, it's the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Shows we're currently rated a 28 in fear out of a 100. Yesterday was a 25, last week a 22, and last month a neutral with a 52. And if you're not familiar with the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, extreme fear can be a sign investors are too worried. That could be a great buying opportunity. BTFD, buy that freaking dip. And when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for a correction. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Investor and personal finance author Robert Kiyosaki says that the Russian invasion of the Ukraine has drastically changed how the world views Bitcoin and crypto assets. In a new tweet, he says that crypto assets are being transformed into a safer haven compared to national currencies. As he shares here, Bitcoin and war. Investors Business Daily reports many Russians using Bitcoin as lifeline after ruble collapsed. 13% of Ukrainians, 12% of Russians, and 8% of Americans own cryptocurrency. Ukraine-Russian war giving rise to crypto as a safer haven than government fake fiat money. And he makes a great point. Now check it. The once-selling best-selling author is citing a report by the Investors Business Daily publication claiming Bitcoin use in Russia has risen after the collapse of the ruble following sanctions by the US and its allies, which is facts. And earlier this week, the author of the New York Times bestseller, Rich Dad Poor Dad, endorsed Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. Because it is. And earlier this month, the personal finance author and investor repeated his pro-crypto message, saying that his alternative strategy, enabling him to survive the prevailing biggest bubble in world history, is to put his money in Bitcoin and precious metals. Quoting him here, do you have a plan B? We're in the biggest bubble in world history. Bubbles in stocks, real estate, commodities, and oil Future, possible depression with hyperinflation. My plan B, be an entrepreneur, stay out of the stock market, create your own assets, use debt as money, save gold, silver, Bitcoin, and guns. And he also recently tweeted with another very controversial post, bye bye Bitcoin, prediction, Biden to sign executive order regulating cryptos. Next, Fed crypto. Next, all cryptocurrencies seized and folded into government crypto. Let's go, Brandon, you criminal, you commie. You got to hand it to him. He is very passionate about our country, but where he says bye bye Bitcoin, I believe is where he got it all wrong. As Calvin Pop points out, I don't know why you would say bye bye Bitcoin. That's right, because Bitcoin is not going anywhere. It's the only truly decentralized money in world history with a true scarcity, unlike gold and silver and the other assets that Kiyosaki commonly talks about. And before I break down our final breaking story of the day, Honduran President Xiomara Castro to announce Bitcoin as legal tender. But first, I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below this video in the description for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the crypto market. This goes for all 1,000 plus videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also, some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including my crypto merch store, now live at merch.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a daily letter which goes out to over 30,000 subscribers every single day. To subscribe, visit letter.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a blog I update daily which can be found at cryptonewsyes.com. Also be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day. But all right, now let's break down our final breaking story of the day. Honduran President Xiomara Castro to announce Bitcoin as legal tender, as I announced here this morning on crypto Twitter. Let me read you the story from this article, which was published just yesterday. Bitcoin to be announced as official legal tender in Honduras 1 year after El Salvador adopted Bitcoin. Sources say that makes me believe that at the Bitcoin conference in Miami in the beginning of April, that announcement may be made, as that's when last year President Bukele of El Salvador made that huge announcement. And of course, you're going to have Bukele there, you'll have Max Keiser there, you have Jack Mallers there, you have Michael Saylor there, and I'll even be at that conference. So if you're heading to the Bitcoin conference, let me know. I'd love to link up with you. Now, while the move would mark the second sovereign state to adopt Bitcoin, Honduran President Xiomara Castro is said to have commented, "We are still early. We must not allow El Salvador to be the only country escaping dollar hegemony. Honduras has the right to move towards the first world." That's right, let the Bitcoin game theory continue. Now, Castro will be making a big announcement on Monday morning, putting on the laser eyes on her profile, according to sources. And checking out some of the responses from this thread, we have Deep Blue Crypto, who wrote, "El Salvador took the orange pill. Honduras is next for orange pill. Who's next? Let's freaking go Bitcoin." And as pointed out here, El Salvador adopted Bitcoin. Countries fighting for Bitcoin. States in the United States are fighting for Bitcoin. Corporations are buying Bitcoin. Billionaires are buying Bitcoin. Politicians are buying Bitcoin. Hedge funds are buying Bitcoin. Future ETF approved for Bitcoin. Dollar reserve system is scared. That's right. When it comes to Bitcoin adoption, we have El Salvador as legal tender. Countries to follow: Tonga, Mexico, Argentina, Bolivia, Paraguay, Panama, Nigeria, Kenya, and now Honduras. And states in the U.S. following, we have Arizona, Texas, Florida, Wyoming, New York, Tennessee, Mississippi, Oklahoma. Who will be next? Let's freaking go. Now, here's another interesting tweet. If you're ever wondering why El Salvador adopted Bitcoin instead of Ethereum as money, here's the reason why. According to Fidelity Digital Asset Report, Bitcoin monetary policy is fixed and has not changed. Ethereum monetary policy has changed and is expected to change again, and it could be again and again for all we know, right? This is reason enough to say Bitcoin is better at being money than Ethereum will ever be. Let's not also forget, we know the cap limited supply of Bitcoin is 21 million. We can't say the same for Ethereum. Nobody knows. It's a mystery. Interesting, right? And quoting Max Keiser here, Bitcoiners were 10 years ahead of the curve. The fact the White House is still dumb on this point means another 10 years of triple-digit compounding, $220,000 still in play for the King Crypto. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Max Keiser's prediction. Now for the top 3 comments from yesterday's episode, Szynski, I Want to Fly wrote, "Well, $1 million for Bitcoin is inevitable. I think it's just a matter of time, and I'll keep spending USDT on it until $100,000, I suppose. I hope I'll gather one full coin before that happens. You bet, man. Agreed 100%. Keep stacking them sats. Let's freaking go." Our next featured comment comes from Michael Volkman, who wrote, "JV, pray that all is well. You showed up today earlier than normal. Normal is 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Watched it, but not live. All good, fam. I greatly appreciate your continued support. I'll be in a hotel in and out leading up to the Bitcoin conference, so over the course of the next couple of weeks. So I do my best to be on time, but sometimes it's just not a possibility. And our third and final featured comment comes from VBerg420. Happy 420, fam. He says, awesome show. Thanks for all your hard work. Much love and respect, fam. Greatly appreciate that. Hodl, and to be featured on tomorrow's episode, drop me a comment right down below.